Today at noon, the Supreme Court making a major blow against President Trump. What the president is saying after a shocking vote that strikes down most of his imposed tariffs. Plus, we're checking in with local lawmakers. What's on deck during Oregon's legislative session and how both parties are trying to work together. Also ahead, the Winter Olympics are nearing its final days, but Oregon still has some athletes competing. We check in with a Bend native in his final run coming up. Good afternoon, and thank you for joining us. I'm Blair Best. Before we get into our top story, let's head to Mount Hood, where all eyes are on the men's freeski halfpipe. The Y-East Mountain Academy is cheering on alum and Team USA's Nick Gepper. Coming up in just a couple of minutes, how Gepper and a Bend native Hunter Hess did in the final run. Now to our top story this afternoon. The Supreme Court this morning striking down most of President Donald Trump's tariffs. The court ruled the president exceeded his authority when imposing sweeping tariffs using a law reserved for a national emergency. The 6-3 ruling is a rare setback for the administration at the Supreme Court, which has a 6-3 conservative majority. Oregon Attorney General Dan Rayfield calling the decision a victory, saying in quote, "At a time when we should all be working together to do everything in our power to keep the cost of living down for working families, the president tried to sidestep Congress to increase prices on groceries, utilities, and basic everyday necessities." Meanwhile, President Trump saying this in response.
The Supreme Court's ruling on tariffs is deeply disappointing, and I'm ashamed of certain members of the court, absolutely ashamed, for not having the courage to do what's right for our country.
The president could seek to reimpose the tariffs using other laws. Well, some federal funding could come to Oregonians impacted by the December floods. Governor Tina Kotek is requesting a major disaster declaration from President Trump. She's asking for help for 9 counties from Lincoln to Hood River and statewide access to the Hazard Mitigation Grant Program to help fund projects to reduce future disaster impacts. The string of storms from December 15th through the 21st caused more than $15 million in losses. Well, Oregon lawmakers are halfway through this legislative session, and we want to highlight some of the bills they're looking to pass. One would increase penalties for making a false report called swatting. So under it, hoaxes like a fake active shooter or bomb threats would be classified as felonies. It passed the House overwhelmingly on Thursday. The second is House Bill 4091 to protect state authority over the Oregon National Guard. The bill limits when the federal government can mobilize the Oregon National Guard without the governor's consent. That bill also passed, but it is worth noting that this session has been marked by sharp disagreements. For example, on Wednesday, all Republican senators were a no-show over a Democratic-sponsored bill related to the controversial transportation package.
Really, they want to disenfranchise Oregon voters. So by moving this election bill through, they are ignoring a whole host of statutes related to the ability of Oregonians to weigh in via the voters pamphlet to get their issues, their ideas into the voters pamphlet.
That bill is set to be introduced today. Okay, turning now to what appears to be more trouble for former Oregon Congresswoman turned Labor Secretary Lori Chavez-DeRemer. Her husband is now accused of sexual assault. That's according to the New York Times. At least 2 female staff members at the Labor Department reportedly told officials that Dr. Sean DeRemer sexually assaulted them at the workplace. You can see Dr. DeRemer sitting behind Secretary Chavez-DeRemer at her confirmation hearing last year. Now, sources say he is now barred from Labor Department headquarters. A police report lists the Department of Labor as the site of a sex abuse allegation, but names no suspect and notes no arrests or charges. The Times reports the claims came about during an internal probe into Secretary Chavez-DeRemer. Now, she's accused of a romantic relationship with a security officer and misusing funds for personal trips. Her lawyer denies those allegations. Dr. DeRemer is listed as an anesthesiologist in Portland. We have reached out to his office, as well as Secretary Chavez-DeRemer, for comment on these accusations, and we have not heard back yet. Well, in an update, Portland police have arrested the man accused of stalking and sexually harassing Portland Community College students 4 times over the last month. The latest incident happened Wednesday afternoon at a bus stop at 82nd and Division near the Southeast Portland campus. Police arrested 37-year-old Abdi Wahid Dahir Yusuf Thursday afternoon. Court records show he was arrested back in November for a similar incident at that same bus stop. He pleaded not guilty in that case. Okay, let's check in on the weather with Chris McGinnis. Chris, talk to us. What are you tracking for this weekend?
Well, we're tracking milder temperatures for sure, and also the return of low elevation rain and some wind as well. So we'll get to all of that. But first off, we still, believe it or not, have some snow cap on the top of Cascade Head out along the Oregon coast. This is up to about 1,200 feet or so from our Chinook Winds Casino Resort camera in Lincoln City. And I think also if you look closely, you're starting to see some of the dune grass there pick it up in the breeze, a sign of that increasing east breeze, which eventually all this together, along with moderating temperatures, will be a sign of what's coming in for the weekend. All right, radar over the last 3 hours showing a little smattering of green along the coast. There still are a couple of snow flurries in the highest terrain of the Coast Range and up in the Cascades as well. But by and large, the Willamette Valley and the I-5 corridor has been generally dry today. Again, outside of a couple of blips showing up on radar in the higher terrain, I expect us to remain dry, but fairly cloudy, and that's what the Wells Fargo sky camera shows us right now. It's 44 degrees at the airport. It's 43 in downtown with the south breeze picking up to 10, and in West Lynn, perspective across the state. Nobody terribly cold at this lunchtime hour. 31, the cold spots on this map anyway in Oregon, in John Day and Burns. The forecast for the rest of this afternoon, again, in and out of the cloud cover, mostly in the cloud cover with highs remaining in the mid-40s tonight. Sunset, 5:45. All right, so some rain, a little bit of wind in the weekend forecast, and then potentially, Blair, a really wet Monday. I don't know, I want to be looking past the weekend to Monday and rain, but we've got that in the forecast coming up in just a few minutes.
Okay, Chris, we'll see you then. Well, Bend native Hunter Hess took to the halfpipe this morning, hoping to give Team USA another gold medal. It was a tough couple of runs for Hess and almost every other skier. His third run, the strongest, making it through all his jumps without falling. Hess finished in 10th with a best score of 58. Meanwhile, Nick Gepper just missed out on a medal. This was from a watch party up at Y East Mountain Academy, where Gepper is an alum. He had a great second run, but had a tough fall on his last run and finished 4th. Another American, Alex Ferreira, taking home the gold. And as the Winter Olympics come to a close this weekend, Team USA will take the world stage one last time for the closing ceremony. And part of what they'll wear for the closing ceremony was started right here in Oregon. Corey Johnson takes a look at how a local wool company is woven into America's Olympic moment.
Jean Carver heads Maupin-based Shanico Wool Company, a group of ranches in the West. Her Olympic connection started with a call years ago.
I got a call from Ralph Lauren, product development researcher, looking for American yarn, and of course I had it.
Since then, Carver has worked with Ralph Lauren to provide wool products used for USA Winter Olympic uniforms for 5 games, including the 2026 Winter Games in Milan Cortina. Shanico Wool is part of the toggle coat, pants, ear flap hat, mittens, and sweaters for the opening ceremony, as well as the closing ceremony sweater and beanie.
It makes it more personal to us, more intimate to us, to have just a small part of supporting our athletes.
For Carver and the ranch families involved, the partnership goes beyond fashion.
It's humbling and it fills you with pride, and it connects us to our Olympic athletes, our sport legends for America. It connects us in a way we would never be otherwise.
She says the recognition from the major brand helps sustain ranching families and the land they depend on.
It ensures the future of our family on those lands, but it also ensures, with the health of the land, our collective future. But that work is kind of timeless and mostly forgotten. So when Ralph Lauren uses our name as a partner and elevates our work, they change our daily life in a way nothing else does.
What a cool story. Okay, opening day for the Portland Timbers is fast approaching. When you can catch the first game of the season.
Matthew Herchick, new morning anchor, KGW. I'm a huge sports fan, and I know I might be from the Buckeye State, but I'm excited to explore what the Rose City has to offer. I want to make sure you're prepared for the day, whether it's bringing you breaking news or sharing those inspirational stories that make you smile, we've got you covered. Because when news moves fast, you need a team that moves with you. Make the move to Portland's #1 streaming newscast, Sunrise, weekday mornings from 5 to 9, anywhere you watch.
We have now issued a weather impact alert.
We could expect conditions in some parts of our area to change drastically pretty soon, right?
And very quickly, yeah.
This is significant rainfall coming our way.
You'll definitely want to be extra cautious.
Certainly becoming increasingly hazardous.
We've got the potential for some tree limbs or even trees or power lines to come down.
Of course, when you hear thunder, it's always best to take cover.
On Weather Impact Alert Days, stream extended coverage on KGW+.
Well, if you're in the market for a new set of wheels and are looking for a car that will turn heads, we've got the place for you. Oregon's International Auto Show is in full swing at the Convention Center. Every year they show off some new vehicles along with some classics. And Thomas Schultz takes us inside at what the show has to offer.
Well, we are here at the Oregon International Auto Show, and they have everything here, from go-karts like this one to cars like these over here. All sorts of things here at the Oregon Auto Show in the Convention Center for everybody to come and take part in. Look at some of these cars. They've got all the dealerships you could think of, from Ford to Toyota, and then they've also got the classics and also some racing cars like these in this area. And check this thing out. Now, this car, we were told, sells for $350,000, but right now, because of limited supply, it's going for close to $1 million for one of these cars. This is probably the granddaddy of them all at this auto show, but there is everything from people actually looking to buy cars, maybe you just want to view them, maybe you're interested in the muscle cars like this one right here, or if you're interested in those go-karts like we just showed you, they've got all of that. They tell us the horsepower on this thing, 1,200 horsepower. You can see these wings. They also tell us these are actually a part of the frame, so you can even stand on that right there. So a little bit of everything for everybody here at the auto show. And yeah, you might have already known it. You might have already guessed it. It's going all weekend long. Not something you're going to want to miss here at the Convention Center. Thomas Schultz, KGW News.
Dreaming big at the Convention Center this weekend. The Expo Center, right? The Expo Center, I think that's where that was, right? Okay, we've got cloudy, cool conditions through this afternoon. A return to some rainy, breezy conditions this weekend. And Cascade snow, yeah, we'll see some, but the snow levels are going to be rising a bit, especially on Sunday. More on that with your full forecast coming up after the break.
Hi, I'm Christine Padawanich. I'm a journalist at KGW, and I love exploring Portland's amazing food scene. New spot? I'm there. So I don't just report about our community, I belong to it. What happens here affects us all, and that's why we care so deeply about getting it right. And when local journalism is done right, it doesn't sit still, it moves. It moves you to act, to vote, to volunteer, to speak up, or to lend a hand. It moves your mind by challenging assumptions and offering new perspectives. It moves you forward by giving you the information to make decisions and thrive where you live. And yes, it moves your heart through the good stuff that stays with you wherever you are. And at KGW, we're here for all of it. These are the stories that move Portland.
Well, you are taking a live look over Providence Park, where the Timbers are getting ready for their home opener tomorrow night. Portland is hosting the Columbus Crew, and this season is expected to be an exciting one, with Providence Park celebrating 100 years. Saturday's home opener is set for 7:30 p.m.
Could be a little wet on the pitch tomorrow.
I was just about to ask, like, what do Timbers fans have to be prepared for?
So we're going to have some rain, but I think tomorrow the wettest part of our Saturday is going to be in the morning, and I'm going to show you that with Futurecast in just a second. Yeah, first let's take you live to the beach. Surf's up, sort of. Sponsored by Seaside. Checking out the waves there along the North Oregon coast. I'll tell you what, the surf will really be up this weekend as that swell starts to increase. But what's been really cool watching this camera the last few weeks since we've had it, we've been enjoying watching the surfers. Who knew that the North Oregon coast was such a surfing capital, surfing mecca? All right, it's 43 degrees right now in Seaside. And as we go into the weather headlines here, clouds and sun breaks today. A few sprinkles at the coast and in the coast range, otherwise a generally dry day, but rainy, breezy conditions pick up as we go into Saturday. And then looking ahead, potentially a really wet Monday and Tuesday. I'll show you that in a second. First off, what's going on now? A couple of snow flurries out across the Blue Mountains and some sprinkles along the Oregon coast. Snow levels in the coast range are getting back up to about 1,500 feet, and they will continue to rise as we go into the weekend. Big area low pressure here spinning in the Gulf of Alaska. That's going to slowly drop south and then eventually southeastward over the next 3 days. And it will be the major driver of our weather heading into the weekend. Not only is it going to send a few little pieces of energy at us, but it may ultimately tap into some tropical moisture as we go into Monday. And I'll show you that in a second. That's why I think Monday may wind up being the wettest part of our forecast over the next 4 or 5 days. Futurecast is not overly impressed with rainfall this weekend. That said, I mean, we are going to get wet, maybe to the tune of about 1/3 to a 1/2 inch plus up and down the I-5 corridor cumulatively for Saturday and Sunday. But then the bigger shot of rain may wind up coming in on Monday. And again, I'll show you that in a bit. All right, rainy and breezy tomorrow. The emphasis on the rain, I think, is for the first part of the day. So Timbers fans, again, there's a chance we dry out with less rain by Saturday evening. But you'll notice the breeze, and you'll see that with Futurecast in a second as well. And then Sunday, occasionally wet with more significant rain coming in Sunday night and Monday. All right, how about the breeze? We're already starting to see the breeze pick up a little bit along the Oregon coast, gaps through the Cascades and through the gorge. And that east wind machine is going to get cranking overnight tonight and tomorrow. So you'll notice that in a lot of places, possibly gusting 20 to 30 miles an hour, especially prevalent on the east side of town. All right, here's Futurecast for the rest of the day. Lots of clouds, some rain beginning to move in tomorrow. Snow in the highest terrain of the coast range. Those snow levels will rise. As we go through the day tomorrow, you can see that, you know, we start to get a little break in the action. So it's possible, again, that first Timbers match gets off more dry than anything. We get more showers than rolling on through on Sunday. And snow levels in the Cascades throughout this event will continue to rise. And I'll show you that here with our graphic. Snow levels on Saturday about 3,500 feet, maybe upwards of 4,500 feet on Sunday. That said, government can't picks up maybe another fresh 5 or 6 inches of snow before we see any transition. All right, real quick, not to just blow past the weekend, but there is a bit of an atmospheric river here that's going to target possibly southern Oregon or northern California as we go to Monday and Tuesday. And that's what we're watching for potentially a fairly wet time frame here in our 7-day forecast. But in the meantime, we're cloudy out there for the most part. And we've got temperatures slowly inching into the upper 40s for highs this afternoon. 7-day forecast again, rainy and breezy tomorrow, occasional rain on Sunday, and then I think the wettest part of our 7-day, Blair, that's looking to be probably Monday into Tuesday before we get a break on Wednesday.
Okay, Chris, thanks so much. Well, in our latest Pacific Storyland, a family legacy that all starts with a love story. We introduce you to one of the most well-known salsa dancing families.
KGW Plus TV app, streaming 24/7. Local news from the team you trust. Track how the weather will impact your day. Breaking news live from the scene. All the local news you need. KGW Plus. Download on your TV and watch for free. On Weather Impact Alert Days, stay informed, prepared, and connected with KGW and KGW Plus. Coverage that alerts you to what's coming and how it will impact you. Watch extended weather coverage on KGW Plus.
I'm Trina Green, a morning anchor at KGW and new dog mom to this sweet guy. Meet Barry. I love getting your mornings off to a great start, whether it's sharing stories of resilience and triumph in our community, or following breaking news from Beaverton to Gresham and everywhere in between. We've got you covered, because when news moves fast, you need a team that moves with you. Make the move to KGW Sunrise, weekday mornings from 5 to 9, anywhere you watch.
Well, in today's Pacific Storyland, we're going dancing. Portland is home to one of the most well-known salsa dancing families in the world. And as Catherine Cook and photojournalist Kyle Connolly show us, it all started with a love story.
In Brandon Ayala's salsa class, it starts as just dancing, till you realize salsa is a heartbeat. It's part of Brandon and his whole family. He and his brother Bryant co-own Lines Dance Academy in Portland and Hillsborough. Their brother Benny runs his own studio in Seattle. And their parents, their heartbeats are completely in sync.
I mean, every time they dance, it just brings such a smile to my face. I just feel joy.
I think the reason why we have so much passion in what we do is because of my parents.
I always told my family I was going to be a dance teacher, and they always told me no.
As a young girl living in Hillsborough, Analine Villaraldo remembers watching this old video of salsa dancers in Mexico City. This dancer was her favorite.
I was like, one day I will dance like that.
20 years later, at a community dance, she spotted her future husband, Hermenegildo Gonzalez Rodriguez.
I was sitting down, and then I saw someone far away from me that it was dancing so nice, and I was like, I don't know, it's something that he has something that he's dancing, but I don't know what it is. It's like I know him.
Months went by. They fell in love, then discovered something as romantic as salsa itself. The guy in that video, that was Hermenegildo.
Oh, my mom's Justin Bieber. She was a fangirl.
I never knew that life was going to cross paths with him. Met my husband, he has the same dream as me.
Their dream, becoming world champion salsa dancers. A dream their sons took over and realized. Last month, the Ayalas and fellow Lines Academy dancers won the group competition at the Latin Dance Summit Championships in New Jersey. Dancers from more than 40 countries were there to challenge them.
Yeah, like the Olympics. With our hard work, I feel like people, worldwide are now, they recognize it.
For the Ayalas, trophies and recognition mean a lot, but not as much as dance itself and what it can do.
All of us, we suffer so much stress. And in 1 hour, they come to dance.
Feel free, feel happy, feel joy in a time that's hard.
And we love the responsibility of being able to provide that for anybody, yeah, and do it through Latin culture.
In Northwest Portland, Catherine Cook, KGW News.
Oh my gosh, I just love that. Well, if you have an idea for Pacific Storyland, Catherine would love to hear from you. You can text us at 503-226-5088 or email pacificstoryland@kgw.com. And we'll be right back.
The KGW Plus TV app, streaming 24/7. Local news from the team you trust on your time. Track how the weather will impact your day.
Certainly becoming increasingly hazardous.
Extended, continuous coverage of breaking news live from the scene.
That snowpack is still heavy.
Go deeper with in-depth interviews and exclusive reporting. All the local news you need, live or on demand. KGW Plus. Download on your TV and watch for free. The KGW Plus TV app, streaming 24/7. Local news from the team you trust. Track how the weather will impact your day. Breaking news, live from the scene. All the local news you need. KGW Plus. Download on your TV and watch for free. On Weather Impact Alert Days, stay informed, prepared, and connected with KGW and KGW Plus. Coverage that alerts you to what's coming and how it will impact you. Watch extended weather coverage on KGW Plus.
Okay, welcome back. Chris is here with a final look at our forecast.
And we are climbing out of that low elevation snow threat. Actually, we did that yesterday. So we're done with that.
We're over that.
Are we done for the winter? I'm not ready to say that, but maybe. In the meantime, today is mostly cloudy for the rest of our afternoon with actually more clouds than anything, highs in the upper 40s. Weekend forecast. Rainy and breezy tomorrow, and at this point, looks like Saturday morning is the wettest part of the day.
Okay.
Sunday pretty wet, and then Monday could be a real soaker, maybe on the order of a half an inch to an inch of rain on Monday.
Okay, something to keep an eye on. And a reminder, we've added more live news to KGW Plus. Tune in to Sunrise exclusively from 7 to 9 a.m. and later tonight at 5:30. We hope to see you then. Have a great day.